All right, this is probably the last class that there's some overlap with 101, then we really kind of go off in a different direction. But we do some stuff today that 101 didn't do. Now, I had talked to you about your cheat sheets. Those are important to me. If you do the cheat sheets, you do better. What have we done so far? Forms of business. And what are your keys? Partnership, corporation, and 5 decision makers. You should, when you get a test, you should be able to read the test and say, I think this is form of business. And then you turn to your notes. Okay? Now we're going to add today economics. And we may add ethics. And we will eventually have 17 things across there. All right? Now, I told you that you need to buy the book. This is chapter 14, right here. Here's the chapter 15 that I did not lecture on. And it has to do with partnerships. Very specific types of partnerships. Okay, so if you don't read chapter 15 and I give you a test on partnerships, you may only tell me the 5 decision makers and you may leave out some things about partnerships that are in chapter 15. It's very short. There's only 3 things in there that you need to know, but that's up to you. All right, economics. When you take economics, you'll take 2 economic semesters, and students always come back to me, I'm lost. Okay? I don't have any idea what they're talking about. Professor Kidder teaches economics. Professor Bryant teaches economics. They are both smart people, and in my opinion, they have a hard time communicating that with somebody else. All right? Professor Kidder in particular is like a computer brain, and he talks and he says hello to me, and I don't know what he's talking about. Okay, he's just hard to understand. So students come to me and say, I'm lost in economics. Well, here's how to do economics. Put yourself in the problem. Put yourself. If he says, the GDP is going up and the CPI is coming down, and he's got a chart on there, and he's got supply and demand, and he's drawing charts, put yourself in a position that's simple. I work at McDonald's. I used to flip 50 burgers a month. Now I'm flipping 60 burgers a month. What does that mean? That means the economy is good. It means people are spending money. My dad has a used car lot. And this month he sold more used cars than he has in a year. What does that mean? The economy is bad because they won't buy a new car. They're buying old cars. All right? Make it as simple as you can when you're studying economics, and it will help you do that. All right, economics, we have the CPI, which is the consumer price index. That is 100 products in 30 days state. Then we have the gross domestic product. That is 1,000 sales in 1 year in the country. Now, the GDP and the CPI go up and down. Up and down. Anytime you watch the news or read the paper, you will hear them talking about, well, the GDP is falling. The GDP is less this month than it was last year. Okay? That means the economy is going down. That means people are buying less. When the economy is bad, people are scared to buy things. They reuse their old things. They keep their old car. They shine their shoes and don't buy new ones. So the gross domestic product is the federal government takes 1,000 things, 1,000 products. It could be different products, 1,000 different products over the last year, and looks to see if the sale of those went up and down, if the price of them went up and down. The Consumer Price Index is you would look at South Carolina, for instance, and you would look, they have 100 goods, could be anything, could be sporting goods, clothes, cars, shoes, it could be anything. And they do it every month. And so the CPI can be going up or down. Now, which is the more accurate? Which is the more accurate? Well, you can answer either way. This is monthly. So if you wanted to know, I want to start a new business. I want to start a business in Newberry selling tennis shoes, selling athletic shoes. I can look at the CPI and it will tell me in, this is September, it will tell me in August, just in August, whether prices in South Carolina went up or down over the course of 100 things. Did the prices in South Carolina go up or down? And if the prices are going up, you would think this is a good time to start my business. The GDP, which covers 1,000 things, it's in a year. So you look at the GDP, if the Consumer Price Index is going up and the GDP is going up, that would be a good time to start any business, wouldn't it? Because prices have increased for the past year and they've increased last month. So that would be a good time to start a business. What if it was the GDP was going up, but the Consumer Price Index was going down? Which means we've had a good year, but we had a bad month. Would that be a good time to start a business? Not sure, is it? It's kind of, it'd be a tough decision. It'd be a tough decision. Yes, it would depend exactly on what you're trying to sell. Okay? If you're selling sandals and flip-flops, and it's September, you don't want to start it because we're fixing to have cold weather. If you sell coats, you don't want to start a business selling coats in June because you're not selling any until September or October. So that's why it's important to look at both. What is business like over the past year, and what is business like over the past month? So I give you a test, and it's, 4 football players graduated. They want to make football helmets, and one's got $1 million, and one's got $100,000, and the other 2 have student loans. And you read that, automatically that the first sentence is, this is a term of business, a form of business question. This is a form of business issue. The football players need to look at the 5 decision makers, right? Everybody know that? Okay. And based on the 5 decision makers, they should form a corporation, because liability is so high with football helmets. And then you cover capital and control and ease. And that would be the end of a test up until today. Now, if I tell you that the GDP is falling, that the GDP is going down, and the consumer price index is going down, your second paragraph, or a later paragraph, this is also an economics issue. The 4 football players may need to wait before starting their business because the GDP is going down, and that's 1,000 sales over the past year, and the CPI is going down in the state of South Carolina. Okay, that's all you have to tell them. I didn't ask you, I didn't ask you want to make a picture of that, but it'll be on YouTube. So this is a form of business issue. Football players need 5 decision makers. They should form corporation, mainly because of liability. Right. And you fill all of that in, and you make an A or B on that part of if that was all it was. But now we got more. Okay. This is also an economics issue. The GDP and CPI are falling. Players might want to wait. You understand that? Okay. And each time I cover another issue, it layers into the problem. And I may add only one sentence. I may add one sentence. I may give you a problem that is completely about corporations and partnerships. And I may throw one sentence in there, the GDP is falling. All right, that's a hint. It's an economics question. And when I put something in there, it's in there for a purpose. The other part of economics. We have the basic business equation, which is profit equals revenue minus expenses. questions up here, and you check, well, it's a formal business question. It's also, you know, an economics question. And when I talk about economics, I need to talk about basic business equation. What is profit? What's profit? What's profit, Donovan? Huh? What you make. Money. Profit is money. We're in business school to make money. Otherwise, you can major in sociology. Okay, we're in business school to make money. What is revenue?
Benefits.
Huh?
Benefits.
No. What's revenue? You're running a business. What's your revenue? Come on, Jamie, what's your revenue? Huh? How? Money from what?
Sales.
Okay. Revenue is how the money comes in. Maybe it comes in sales. Maybe it comes in donations. Maybe it comes in tax refunds. There may be 100 ways that you get revenue. Revenue is money coming in. Now, if revenue is going up, what is profit doing? Profit's going up. The more you bring in, the more sales you have, the more profit you have. What are expenses? What's the number one expense for any business?
Taxes.
Huh?
Taxes.
No, close.
Salary.
Salary, thank you. Labor. Taxes. Lease. Utilities. All of those are expenses. What happens if you can make expenses go down? Maybe you fire 10 people. If expenses go down, what happens to profit? Profit goes up. So the way to make more money is to have revenue go up or expenses to go down. If you're really lucky or if you're really good, they may both happen at the same time. But generally they don't. Sometimes you're getting a lot of revenue, sometimes you got too much expenses. Sometimes you got to cut expenses. Maybe you got to move to a new warehouse. Maybe you got to fire some people. Maybe you need new revenue. So you're making hoodies, you decide to make sweatshirts too, and hats too. You try to get more sales. So you've got to increase your revenue or decrease your expenses. This is a form of business issue. This is also an economics issue. They need to increase revenue or decrease expenses to make profit. They need GDP and CPI both going up. Simple sentences, simple declaratory sentences, not a lot of discussion, just giving me back what I'm giving you now. I'm giving you the answers. Okay? See those orange check marks? Okay? That is the only thing I grade. The only thing I grade is you recognizing what issue is in the fact situation. If I can teach you to read half a page of facts, and you say, this is about forming a business, and this is about how the economy affects it, and this is about making profit, then I feel like I've been successful. Because the rest of it, you just give me back what's in your notes. I'm giving you the answers. You just give me back what's in your notes. And if your notes suck, watch the YouTube. All right? All you got to do is give it back. But I don't tell you what it's about. You have to figure that out. You have to figure that out. Now, in the midterm, there'll be 2 questions, and each question will have 3 or 4 issues. In the final, it'll be the same way. 2 questions, and each question will have 3 or 4 issues. Sometimes it's the same one, sometimes they're totally different. And I may give you one that's got forms of business in it, and then I may give you one that's got ethics and marketing or management or human resources or accounting or bankruptcy. We got a bunch of stuff to choose from. So each question will be 3 or 4 of those. That's why it's important now to get your notes good and to have your cheat sheet. 3 months from now, you got to remember what I talked about when I talked about economics. Because you may read a bankruptcy question and say, well, this also, they're bankrupt because they didn't make profit. So then you got to go back and find your profit notes. All right, everybody on the same page? Any questions? All right, we'll just keep on going Monday.